Ukraine, the US, the UK and French representatives will meet in London on April 23rd to discuss achieving a peaceful resolution to Russia's ongoing war in Ukraine. This was announced by President Zelenskyy on Telegram on Monday, following a conversation with UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer. The president noted that he and Starmer had discussed cooperation within broader European security frameworks and emphasized that an unconditional ceasefire must be the first step toward peace. Later that day, in his evening address, Zelenskyy stressed that these upcoming meetings with partners could bring everyone closer to a ceasefire and a real lasting peace.
A ceasefire, real and lasting, must be the first step toward a secure and enduring peace. Ukrainian representatives, both at the meetings held in Paris and at the meetings scheduled this week in London, will have a primary task regarding an unconditional ceasefire. That must be the starting point. Peace begins in silence, and only when there is genuine silence and when people trust the entire negotiation process can the fundamental issues begin to be resolved.
In his address, the Ukrainian president also mentioned that after the Easter holiday, the whole world could clearly see the real reasons why the hostilities continue and that Russia is the source of the war. Ukrainian defenders shot down 38 Russian attack UAVs with 16 decoy drones lost in the area. According to the Ukrainian Air Forces, Russian forces launched a total of 54 drones of various types. The regions of Kyiv and Odessa suffered as a result of the attack. 3 people were injured in the city of Odessa, reported the regional governor Oleg Kiper. Civilian infrastructure, residential buildings, and educational institutions as well as cars were damaged. According to the city mayor, Russian troops hit a densely populated area of Odessa, damaging multiple apartments. A 69-year-old woman was killed and 23 people were injured as Russian troops attacked the city of Zaporizhzhia, targeting a residential area. The regional governor released a video showing the consequences of the strike. The footage shows a damaged high-rise building and a car on fire. 4 children are among the wounded.
At 11:40, 2 guided aerial bombs attacked the city of Zaporizhzhia. One bomb hit an infrastructure facility, the other hit a densely populated area and a residential building.
There was an explosion and the balcony was completely blown away. The apartment was completely damaged. I am all alone. Who is going to help me?
The Ukrainian Air Force conducted a precision strike on a Russian drone operations facility near the village of Tetkina in Russia's Kursk Region on April 19. According to a statement from Ukraine's General Staff, the targeted site was used by Russian forces to prepare, equip and launch reconnaissance, attack and FPV drones against Ukrainian territory. Up to 20 drone operators were eliminated in the strike, added the General Staff, stressing that the armed forces will continue targeting Russian military infrastructure involved in operations against Ukraine. 277 Ukrainian defenders came back home in the latest prisoner exchange between Ukraine and Russia on April 19. Among those released in one of the largest swaps are members of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, the National Guard, the State Special Transport Service and Border Guards. Many of the returned service members had taken part in the defense of Mariupol and operated in areas across Donetsk, Kherson, Zaporizhzhia and Luhansk regions. Most of the returned are young people born after the year 2000, reported the Coordination Headquarters for the Treatment of Prisoners of War. The exchange facilitated by the United Arab Emirates was the 4th this year and the 63rd since Russia's full-scale invasion. According to President Zelenskyy, a total of 4,552 individuals, both military and civilians, have been returned to Ukraine from Russian captivity since 2022. Nearly 10,000 Ukrainian citizens are currently in Russian captivity. This figure was released by Artur Dobroserdov, Ukrainian Commissioner for Persons Missing in Special Circumstances, in an interview with Suspilne Media. He said that as of now, there are over 60,000 individuals in the Unified Register for Missing Persons, which was launched in May 2023. However, the list includes all those missing since 2014. Luxembourg and Iceland sent €2 million worth of equipment to the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine this week. The Deputy Minister of Defense for Digital Development, Katerina Chornohorenko, said this will enhance the capacity for stable and secure communication within the armed forces of Ukraine, which is a critical need on the front line. The shipment came under the initiative of the Rammstein's Format's IT coalition and includes over 3,000 access points of various models, 500 routers, 460 solar-powered charging stations, and 872 phones. This marks the third delivery this year from the IT coalition participated by 15 European nations as well as Canada and Japan. 6 people were injured in Kherson, where Russian troops launched a drone strike on a hospital. According to the regional military administration, the UAV strikes caused damage to the medical facility, transport and civilian vehicles. Among the wounded, 4 are workers of the funeral service, another 2 are employees of the medical facility. All of them suffered mostly mine-blast trauma and shrapnel wounds. At least 7 civilians have been injured after a Russian attack on Kharkiv. The city mayor reported that according to early data, Moscow troops hit the city at least 12 times, targeting 4 different districts. He added that fires broke out at some of the sites, with information on the consequences still being clarified.
As of this hour, we have 10 people injured. These are people who are in cars, standing at public transport stops. This is horrible. In addition, there have been explosions and airstrikes on production facilities that have nothing to do with military production. Once again, we see that our enemy is deliberately targeting Kharkiv businesses and people in the city. A Shahed exploded on the road. This car was driving in front and it sped away from it. Thank God I'm not injured. It's my second birthday, so to speak.
French defense manufacturer KNDS is now sending 90% of its Caesar howitzer barrels to Ukraine. This was reported by French news outlet Le Monde on April 20th. The production of Caesar self-propelled howitzers mounted on wheeled chassis has also ramped up significantly. Before Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, KNDS was rolling out just 2 units per month. That number has since increased to 6 and is expected to reach 12 by the end of 2025. KNDS has also doubled its output of 155mm shells and is aiming to produce 100,000 shells by the end of this year. By late October 2024, France had already delivered 60 Caesar systems to Ukraine and planned to raise the total to 80 by the end of the year, stated the French Ministry of Defense. French Foreign Minister Jean-Noël Barrot has described Russia's so-called Easter ceasefire as a public relations move intended to influence US President Trump, rather than a genuine effort to reduce hostilities. His remarks came during an interview with France Info on April 22nd.
The Easter truce was a marketing operation, a charm operation designed to keep President Trump from getting impatient and angry, so to speak. What we can see, however, is that despite the many hundreds of thousands of violations noted by Ukrainians, there has been a drop in intensity on drones and long-range missiles.
Barrot also noted that while Ukraine accepted a US-proposed 30-day ceasefire covering maritime, aerial and energy infrastructure, Russia rejected the offer, instead issuing a list of conditions and delaying its implementation.